Leave that on. All right.
Hello,
Welcome. This is Shaman's View. I'm Ray Christ, founder of the Jaguar Path.
and I'm Nina Christ, and today we're going to talk about training your senses and the shaman's view on how we perceive the world and our reality, and how our senses influence that reality and our perception of our experience of life.
Of life itself.
Yeah.
And I want to say that the shaman's view of life is always coming from a different angle than the collective consciousness, or a different view from those of us living in the cities and the towns or in different countries. And regardless of where we live and changing countries and moving from one country to another, we see that cultures, each culture and each language, really kind of like dictate a perception, dictate a samsara, the illusionary or the agreed upon reality. And one of the biggest part that I see that is very different for the shaman's view and how we view the world is that, especially in the West, that's Europe and the United States. Good morning, Sunny. Especially in Europe and the United States, we all live in our heads. We all live in this thinking process, right? We've like left nature. We're not close to the sea. We're not close to the mountains, or we might be in some proximity. Yet, though, we live in more in enclosed spaces and more in the space of the city being not just the buildings, but a way of living and perceiving the world. And that in the modern world is a lot up here. We have to think, we have process, we write about it, we read about it, we look at Facebook about it. The shaman and the Taoist, the martial artist, the yogi, all the shamans view the world more from the body. So the perception is not up here, it's a little further down. And it's right in the center of this whole idea, and it's right here in this heart. And from the heart, we move outward. So the understanding is like that we live, that the spirit, the soul lives in the heart. Right? Chinese medicine, the yogis, the shamans of Peru, they all say that the soul lives in the heart. So as we come as a spirit, as a soul, in this mind, body, spirit experience, the spirit has come here for the experience itself. So as we visit this space, we live in a body, and we also have a mind to process things as a tool. Yes. I like that you laugh, because this mind gets in the way more than actually helps process. It just creates drama, creates processes, etc. But the essence, first of all, for the shaman is the body, is the way of the heart. But the heart can feel the world through the body, and the body has 5 senses to use to give us signals to understand what is happening outside. Yeah. You can jump in anytime you want, or
I love where you're going with it.
And all right.
And I'll just add, I'll slide in for a moment and just say that interpretation, as Ray's talking about, is really based on how it was developed in our stages of development as we are maturing, as we are becoming who we are. There's these different programs that get put in place. And as we're moving through life, those programs, those habits, those rhythms, those patterns just get reinforced and reinforced and reinforced. So as we get older, sometimes it's almost, it becomes a blind spot if we're perceiving the world, if we're interpreting the world in any skewed way. And I always think of that as like the lenses that you have. If you put on a pair of sunglasses, it changes the hue, it changes the intensity, changes how much of view is going out because people can't see your eyes as clearly, and how much of the life of the life experience of all of the animation all around you, the materials coming into your being. And as Ray was talking about in the West, how so much of the attention has come into the cerebral aspect of being, and anywhere we put our attention, our energy flows. And so the Taoists talk about this as a skewed reality, a twisted reality, because so much excess energy is up here. Where we need it is to be down in our lower dantian, so that there can be a balance in the heart space, like Ray was talking about. So as we have these two complementary energies coming together in the heart space and dancing that vibrance of life, if too much gets pulled up into the mind, we aren't grounded,
You're top heavy.
and our immune system becomes compromised. So even though this is kind of fun to think about, how am I training my senses? It all comes right back to the core of being, which is our energy storehouse, the lower dantian.
And it all comes back to what you say is that as the senses come in, because we're so much in our head, it's a perception that we have. It's not that we're all looking. When we all look at something, we're not all looking at the same thing, because all the sensory system goes first to the brain. So we process things. It's like, what is that color of the green olive trees that I can see, or the blue water, the Aegean? What is it? What is the smell of the roses? We immediately have what you say is a blind spot. We're already we're already hardwired to have an emotional response, and that is what the senses are for. So I have an emotional response. My energy in motion moves my whole body and says, this is what is happening right now. You're having a beautiful moment, just an hour before sunset, and you're feeling it. But if I had a trauma that happened in a specific hour, when it comes to my brain and my amygdala, that's what is pulled up. So at this moment, instead of me feeling this breeze and this light, translating it in as a beautiful sunset coming up, I may translate it. My whole body can start translating as anxiety rising up. So now I am hijacked. I can't enjoy the sunset, because the sunset, it does not mean the same to me that it does to you, or to Nina, or to
you may not even notice the sunset.
I do not. Yeah, you don't notice the sunset, and you're not noticing that you're not noticing the sunset, right?
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know. You just simply don't know it.
Yeah.
So again, the idea for us to just say maybe the obvious, but sometimes in these shamanic views of the obvious is a little bit different than or things that we don't think about, we don't notice. So you are a soul. You are the awesome self that you are. You have come here, as my friend the shaman Jack says, we've come here to enjoy being. So as we come as a soul, we have a body. Now the body, through the meridians and through the nervous system, may have held in some trauma, some skaras, as we call them in yoga, right? Or traumatic experiences. As they're interfering with the senses. They shift the senses. They attach themselves with files of fear, of anger, of anxiety, etc. So we don't all have the same experience. We can only have the same experience, or rather, in order to live a pure life, in order to live a life that we can reach a space that we could call what the ancient Greeks said, not 20 miles from here, F-zin, optimal living, what the Chinese Taoists call Wu Wei, what the yogis call Ananda, blissful, joyful, and what the shamans of Peru and Quechua, they call Sumak Kashwai, the great life. In order to arrive at this place where the mystics, the first scientists, are all searching, how can I have this life and have an awesome experience? Right? Because we've all had pains, difficulties, sicknesses, losses, trauma, etc. What's the optimal? There's no one perfect, but what's the optimal I can reach, right? In order to do that, we have these sciences which have been forgotten, and there's been a big wall that's been built. And that wall was built in the Middle Ages by the Spanish Inquisition, by those who ran the politics and religion. The wall was closed us all as individuals from spirituality and a sense of freedom. And in that we also lost. There's a lot of shaming for the body, and guilt, and a lot of shaming and a lot of guilt put around there and shame put around that. The idea, though, to go back to what we've lost, those paths, the Taoists with Tai Chi and acupuncture, the yogis with yoga, the whole 8 limbs of yoga, right? And the shamans throughout the planet, offer ways to clear out these samskaras, the imprints of trauma. So the meridian system can once again find a equilibrium and a flow of energy throughout. So thus the channels that run, there's 5 channels from the 5 sensory systems, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the eyes, and the whole skin. All those 5 senses arrive right here. There's a crossroad here of all the marmas, they call it. It's like sub-meridians. And when all 5 of the senses are cleared, so if I had any trauma by what I heard, if I had any trauma by what I seen, if I had any trauma by what I smelled, what I tasted, what I felt, and I've cleared all that out, then my 5 marmas arrive here. All 5 senses go, and that's when the third eye opens. It's just like I've spent a long time in the jungle with shamans inside my body and outside my body. Seeing is not what they say it is, right? And I've had the conversation with some of you. I'm sure you're on here. It's like, oh, I don't see. We all see.
Oh, yeah.
It's like we see, we feel, we don't see something else that the eyes can't see. We can only see what the eyes can see. But when we have all 5 senses cleared, the third eye opens in the sense that now what I'm perceiving has absolute clarity, is sitting as the king and the queen of discernment and sees through everything else I couldn't see through, right? Those filters, I'm taking out those sunglasses that also, there were sunglasses with blotches and dust and smears and
life
and life itself, right? So, but then I begin to see, and it's like, it's right here, like to be the shaman, to be the enlightened, to be the Christ, the Buddha, to be, it's all for us to be and to do. And paradise is right here for us to enjoy.
Yes.
All
of it.
And all of it, thank you. All of it, because we can't, everything flows constantly. Like my other beloved buddy from just a few miles up the road here, we're in Greece now, and Heraclitus says, everything flows. You can never see the same river twice. So, you're looking at the paradise, but it's not paradise. Like if you look away and look back, it's changed. So,
and you've changed.
and yes, and we've changed. And we changed. So I want to talk about diet, and I'll maybe you can tell us a little bit about the elements, but I want to say that one of the things that you've shared with me that I really loved and practice that we brought into our home, it's like every now and then, quite often, we are mindful about what we eat. So and every now and then we do a cleanse. We do intermittent fasting. And every now and then we don't eat for 3 days or 10 days or whatever it is, or 1 day a week, whatever it is we do every now and then. We don't have a schedule around it. But one of the things that Nina brought in conversation and we brought into practice is like, we also fast from what we look at and what we listen to, because those are all things that come in. It's not only the food and the water, what you eat and drink that comes in, but it's also, we take days off from the screen, then Facebook, from YouTube, all which we love. Facebook we work with, YouTube we work with, and I find a lot of things that I like about sailing, about motorcycles, about things that I like in life, and what other human beings are doing with their love and their passion. But we take days off to like clear that sense. Clear the eyes from the fire that comes from the monitor, and also from that information that's coming a little bit, sometimes maybe too much, too fast. Will you share with us a little bit more about the elements and maybe the cleanse you've shared with me, the meditation I love doing?
Well, as we're talking about the senses, and Ray was just mentioning the screen, and we talk about as shamans, like sitting in front of the fire and being inspired by the fire, right? Getting that fire element. Well, now the fire's kind of been replaced by the television or a computer screen, where we have this light, we have this beautiful, and there's so much magic of being able to communicate and learn and express and all of those things. However, with any one of the elements, if we have too much of it, it becomes excess, and then fire creates inflammation, which creates all sorts of trouble, right? So we want to make sure that we kind of cool the fire and intentionally take a break from the screens, but also coming into like a water meditation. And okay, we have some water behind us now, but also think of if you are if you're in a place where you don't have water, if you look outside, even if there's clouds, looking into the clouds and doing an eye gaze meditation where you rest your eyes on the surface of the clouds, just kind of taking it all in, and then allowing your eyes to move through the clouds and like allowing yourself to look beyond the clouds and really allowing that that connection to soften, to lighten that intensity of the fire element that maybe is in excess. And so water is one that we like to bring in a lot, especially because we find in the Western world, a lot of us are moving at a fast pace, utilizing caffeine as a way to kind of boost things and bringing in even more fire. And so just being really mindful of the amount of water we're taking in as well. As you were talking about the eyes, and just now with the eyes, one of the practices that we share in our training and in our school is just using rose water as a way to even just cleanse and clear out the eyes. And it's really nice to help soften and just balance out that fire element. Earth is one that we're connected with all the time. And the Taoists talk about how earth, the element of earth, and this is where if we have a lot of fire, earth is also going to help ground us. That energy we were talking about earlier is how it rises up into the mind where there's so much attention on tasks and strategy and problem solving. And as that energy rises, it's really helpful to get outside. If you're able to take your shoes off, get your feet on the earth and do some earthing, really connecting to the energy of the earth. And basically, it's almost like a magnet. It is a magnet. It's drawing out that static electricity that gets built up in the body, and another expression of fire. So allowing that to ground into the earth and utilizing the earth energy in that way. And the Taoists see our physical body as animated earth. And so we are made up of the same chemistry, the same materials. And so when we return to the source of just connecting with dirt or rocks or trees, any earth that you feel drawn to, the beach, the sand, just taking some time to connect with it, whether you lay down on a nice flat rock or lean against a tree or get your hands in the garden, bringing plants inside if it's during the colder months. And so those are some ways that you can kind of help balance that out. So you know for yourself, if your energy gets kind of high and a little bit overwhelming and maybe feeling a little bit of a frenzy internally, that's when you're going to want to find that earth energy and that earth energy and that water energy to help soothe and ground.
Beautiful. And I'm thinking also it's like that the eyes to look to water to soothe the fire is an awesome idea. The ears to listen to water trickling, amazing, awesome. The mouth, you were saying, is the earth element, and it was I just had an awesome experience not like 5 minutes ago. I got some pollen, so it was all this pollen from all the flowers, and I took a spoonful, and my whole mouth just filled with earth, with the flowers of the earth. And I was like, oh my god, my upper palate was like ecstatic, and then bring in that energy. And then the physical, the touch is the air element, which it's nice to be able to air out your body, to be at some point out in nature and not have to have too many clothes on or anything, just to like kind of like feel the air, allow the body to breathe freely. And the smell, the sense of scent is metal. And I think there's like, plus the rose water, roses or flowers, like make sure to bring in elements in your house that some instances can be really nice, really nice, but they also sometimes carry the element of fire because they're burning. So it's an after effect of burn. So flowers and being able, oh, hello from Greece. We have neighbors close by.
That's
hello
so
from
nice.
Nafplio, from Vivari. It's nice to bring in flowers to be able to have that more of it cultivated. Notice how you feel or think how you feel when you smell a flower. Notice how many times we close our eyes. It's almost like you drop into to go to a deeper sensation, to go to your deeper self to receive that. And that and all of the senses of flowers, like the roses we actually have here in our garden.
Oh my gosh, they're so fragrant.
The fragrance is immediately
goes to my heart.
Immediately goes to your heart, right? And it immediately tunes down the loudness of the sense of fire, like a YouTube video clip has, or the music of it, or you have to go into another level. And And again, overall, I think that's what's happened a lot, is what's happened in the modern world, which I love. I feel we live in one of the luckiest times humanity has, with all of the industrial
Yes.
revolution, technological revolution. If we'd only be able to manage our technology better and our waste better, that would be awesome. But in essence, when we could take some time away from those and rest our senses in doing these things, rose water in the eyes, or looking at the clouds, or looking at water, smelling flowers, getting some flower essences and smelling, and allowing yourself to drop into the deeper self, you actualize, you awaken the inner shaman, you awaken your deeper self.
Yeah.
And
Think of it
you
as,
become a little more real. Like, we have a little more time to be more real, closer to the senses.
and it's like turning the switch on. It also, I feel like it's, if we have all these different ways to experience life, and we're not, and we get there. I know for myself, I've had times where I've just so overwhelmed with everything I'm focused on and everything I'm doing, that I am peeling an orange and I'm not taking that moment to, like today we were walking and there's just oranges everywhere. It was just beautiful. And I peeled it, and the aroma was just like, oh, I stopped walking.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
just
yeah.
like completely stopped me in my
stops you.
tracks. It was like, whoa. And just like really taking a moment to have the true awe of just the smell of the orange before you eat, and then savoring that. And I think of times in my life where I'm just like ripping through the peel of the orange to try to get that nourishment in that millisecond that I had in between, my tight schedule. So yeah, I think of how much, and the shaman's view, which is another kind of life hack, is that when we take those moments, we actually create more time.
Yeah.
And like, I know that my mind, the first time I experienced it, felt it, it's just almost like, but how could that be? Try it, pause and take that in, and then notice how much space is created, how much time you actually
Einstein
gain.
would totally double that one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would agree with that one. It's just like, we time is a perception. So if we slow down, time slows down to meet us where we're at. Enjoy the five senses, and see if you could bring in this again, just to recap. What is it? To rest your eyes, look at water, go to a lake, or look at the clouds.
Sky.
To rest your ears, allow for yourself to listen to trickling water. To rest your taste, I would say, well,
we like to use the tongue scraper. It's an Ayurvedic tool, and I love every morning clearing off any of the toxins that have been the ama, that comes up from the gut, clearing that off. And then it's amazing. And actually, someone had just put in a message about scents, and if you don't have like access to your full expression of smell, and really having that kind of on board, I want to say activated, you can work with the neti pot and do some cleansing of the sinuses. There's plant medicine that you can look into and research and see if it's something that you're interested. Hape, which is a way to kind of stimulate and open and clear the sinuses, and really stimulate the energy flow as well.
And even neti pot.
And the neti pot.
To bring it, which is probably more accessible to people in the West.
And there's also those neti sticks that have like the eucalyptus aroma in them. And I love my neti stick.
We have that magic neti stick for the last 5 years.
It goes forever. I think you can
we've
get
had
them,
this little stick.
You can get them online.
It's 5 years now. It's the same one. It's like,
the Himalaya Institute has them. Himalaya Institute neti stick. Check it out. And it will help.
Guaranteed for a lifetime.
Basically. They're amazing. Yeah. So,
and also I want to say, for the mouth clearing out, like you said, but also I would say bring in some honey. Allow yourself to taste, because as we move through different countries, we see the different tastes and different foods, and it's really interesting how different the reality of food is in every country. It's very different. So the first material, the raw food itself, ends up being very different in the plate and in the shelves of the supermarket or market, because not all countries have supermarkets like the United States, not at all.
No.
But the raw material ends up tasting very differently. So find something that cannot be changed, like honey, bring it in, or pollen. Like we just got some fresh pollen that's out of the flowers here of the
Yeah.
Peloponnese, and change that.
And
And roses, make sure to get
lots of
roses. But if you could go to a garden to find the rose, because even the roses, if you find them in the supermarket, they're already different. That's everything. Everything is like
it's all energy
changed.
And just to touch on this before we conclude our time together, because we're just really inspired today to share. As we're talking, this is where the energy comes from. Everything that we're talking about, we have the energy, the vibration, the frequency of all of these different inputs, from the audio to the visual, what we're smelling, what we're tasting, what we're physically connecting with life. And so each of these has the energy frequency, and as you're feeling how you're picking up on that, it's influencing your core energy. And then how are you creating the energy within yourself as you're digesting whatever you're watching, hearing, seeing, eating, and so on and so forth. Anything else before we?
I want to say that I want to bring it to the beginning again, to end at the beginning, that our senses are connected to memories, and clearing out the senses, along with practicing yoga or tai chi or doing shamanic practices, actually dealing with our trauma, and allows us to clear them out and be able to soar like a beautiful hawk that just came to visit us. The idea is that we can, while life can be difficult, I've personally been difficulties in my life, and it is the difficulties that have brought me to paradise. Walked through fire first for a while.
Brought you to your knees, and then
yes, brought me to my knees. Now I can talk about soaring. So some people say, "Well, you have it easy." You say, "Thank you."
You can smile.
I can smile.
Life has a way of challenging us.
Of course, but in the meantime, how can we step out of the ordinary to live an extraordinary life? And the way to do that, the shaman's view of it, the Taoist view of it, the yogi's view of it, all these three are the same, is to clear out the body, clear the senses, and introduce senses that really give you that full vibration, the full glorious symphony of your upper palate, of the smells, of the music, of everything that you bring into your life that is out of the collective consciousness, that is out of the ordinary. And doing that allows for an experience, it allows for the back thought, the narrators keep on thinking of that impression of life to begin to change. Life is not what I think of it today. Life is not what you think of it today. Life is something that is constantly evolving. And even if you're saying, "Oh, I'm at the best point in my life," it's like, well, enjoy it, because that's going to change too. You hold it for a second and it's going to run through your hands like water. And so it is with pain. It's like, okay, endure it, rise above it, because it's going to run through your hands like water. It will shift. It will change.
Enjoy it.
The nature of things, and enjoy what you might learn from it.
Enjoy the
Patty, long time. It's so good to see you.
Enjoy the
people from England, from
all over. It's
Greece,
so nice.
from Latvia, from Costa Rica, New England. Thank you all so much for joining us. Who is this angel here?
It's so sweet.
Definitely stop and smell the roses.
Where are they?
I don't know.
Beautiful
where are they?
Roses.
We have roses, I think, right there to your left. I'm going to scan this way. Oh, they're right there.
Yeah, beautiful.
So from beautiful Greece, we send our love and celebration to all your senses. Enjoy them, clear them out, allow for your heart and your spirit to rejoice in the senses.
Yes. I feel before ending with gratitude of experience in each sense that you really embrace, and embracing that. And I think that's key to being fully present and fully in spirited and fully in that space of enjoying whatever it is that you're experiencing the most that you can. That's the key.
And shall we close with a little bit of announcement about Sunday mornings?
Yes.
Shall I announce it?
Yeah.
Awesome. We have something new coming up, as I think as of next Sunday. I'm surprising Nina by saying this. Saturday mornings, Shaman's View. Sunday mornings,
Tai Chi Treasures.
Tai Chi Treasures. So
Yeah.
I'll be sharing
Coming.
Saturday mornings more about the shaman's view of the world, going even deeper.
Yeah.
And Nina, Sunday mornings, will be sharing
Tai Chi
from
Treasures
Tai Chi and
the Taoist practices and philosophy and the theory and just how to apply it to life. So tune in. We are really excited to continue to share more. And we love connecting with you all.
Thank you all for being here with us this morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Lots of love to all of you.
Lots of love.
Enjoy your senses.